Ghost Adventures is a paranormal show that first aired in October 17th of 2008 on the Travel Channel. Started by Nick Groff, Zach Bagans, and Aaron Goodwin, the trio has metamorphosed into a quartet now featuring Billy Tolley and Jay Wasley. 2 seasons each year on average, they have brought to us exciting and silly stories and adventures in the realm of the paranormal. And whether you like them, ridicule them, or hate them, they have changed the discussion on the paranormal in ways other shows could not. With their latest set of adventures, the crew has changed forever their focus. Where before it was ghost chasing and at times encountering supposed demons, they rarely delved into more weighty matters. This time, in Season 15, Episode 2, they encountered a full-fledged possession in the offing. In Ogden, Utah, a place known not only for Native American massacres, but also for the murder of men outside the Mormon faith and kidnap of all the women passing through the state to be forcibly married to Mormon men looking to increase their harem. These stains on the fabric of reality and nature have made it more than easy to pierce the veil by things with nefarious aims and a desire to claim life and spiritual energy as their due. Zach and his boys bring in supernatural aid to assist in freeing the Lyons family from the grip upon Jen's husband, David, in the form of Bishop Brian Ouellette and Sister Mary Joan of the Holy Nicolaitan Church. They must work to drive off a demon that once Joel and I encountered, one reluctant to share her name when it is demanded of her. I know her name. So, sorry about that, Joel. You can unmute yourself. Now, the first thing that I noticed when the episode started was the fact that the gentleman had the same pall over him that what's Paul's mother's boyfriend at the time had, the same weirdly apathetic, I'm too weak, I'm too tired, I'm going to faint, I want to get up, I can't sit down, kind of thing. Reminded me of the gentleman in, the Red Badge of Courage, who was dying, who kept on telling people to leave him alone, can't you just leave me alone? Because he'd been shot and he knew he was dying. He just wanted to go and find some place quiet to die. Same feeling, same sensation, and the same dark energy. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I would have to agree on that. His affect was just really blunted, and he was just pretty guarded about the whole situation. I was surprised that he actually talked as much as he did about what was going on.
And the reality was that he gave it away when he said red-haired girl. Red-haired girl. That set up the red flags immediately for me.
Yeah. Well, just the simple fact that, he said that she was coming to him as a girl, and he could see it, and just like the description, I think, for me, that was a warning sign, just because more than likely when you come across that, at least when we've come across it before, it's going to come to you as something that you are not going to be too afraid of, something that's undaunting and just really reserved, that you want to trust or help.
The biggest sign for me wasn't just that she was coming to him in a fashion that would arouse him, but was the fact that she picked red hair. This one particular demon, she's fond of, if she does appear, always having red hair and reddened eyes, not like the pupils redden, but we're talking needs a shot of an allergy aid around the eyes. It would have been nice if this guy had actually I'd been able to ask him directly, because that's one of the affectations she unfortunately takes. This is how you know this was a demon and not a lesser demon or a lesser spirit, like a succubus. If it had been a succubus, she would have just been interested in making him, go off in his pants at night when he was asleep. This was, come to me. I want to ruin this relationship. I want to, that kind of thing.
Run off with me.
Yeah. But the only way to run off with her is to go to your death. At least that's what they make them believe. Now, I want to tell you other things as well. Things behind the scenes that they weren't that forthcoming with. But first, I want to throw out there that this is the first time that they have brought help, and I mean real help, because they normally go to places and go, "We're here to help," and they're not, oh, I don't want to be cruel about this. They're as useful as a rubber crutch in an ICU. All right. They don't do anything. Well, we're here to tell the story because that's what some of these things want us to tell. Is what sometimes they go quiet if we tell their story. No, they don't. No, they don't. Telling their story, unless it's someone who's really pissed off about being murdered, they don't really go away. Okay, that's telling a story is not going to make them go quiet. And this is a demon. So this is the very first time that they've actually gone over and above and outside of the realm of thinking that they're helpful and actually going in and just documenting a danger zone. They went into a war zone. And when I'm telling you it's a war zone, I mean this is a war zone. When Joel and I had to do something of this nature, the house shakes, things happen. The stuff that happened, they didn't show you everything that was recorded. I can guarantee you, because this particular demon has a desire not to be driven off. I'm rather jealous because the people that they brought in had better tools than we had when we were in our teens. So I'm a little jealous of that, because it would have made life a little simpler. Now, I want to point out also the outright hypocrisy of them. Every time, Joel, every time you ever see Zach see a pentacle, what does he always say?
He always wants to attribute that with witchcraft or devil worship.
Saying it's demonic. It's demonic.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But aside from that, when they did their thing, the ritual with the priest, they put down how many of those icons into the dirt?
There was 4, one at each corner and one in the center.
There was 5.
I know I was getting there. I was counting the corners first, and then I was going to mention the center, which would have been 5.
So that's 5 points. No matter whatever you do, you're to seal it. You're going to be using 5 points. And they actually, according to when I went back and watched it again, they put it in 5 points, and they didn't put one in the center. It was all spread out around the edge of the farm. I pulled up a Google Map satellite view of the farm, which wasn't easy, by the way. I had to figure out where the cemetery was. It's right on the northwestern edge, of Ogden. And I saw where they went and where they put it down. It was an abbreviated pentacle around.
What was it?
The farm.
I thought they put one in the basement of the house.
Yeah, if you look at the way the shape of the building is and the property itself, it's a very oblong sort of stretching a pentacle into the shape of a rectangle.
Got it.
So now this brings up that there is no such thing as evil energy like this. It's just evilly used. It has doing stuff like this. It has on the only purpose that you put it to, good, bad, or indifferent. Which is why I would like it if they would frickin' stop going to witchcraft. It's witchcraft, mama. It's the demon. Okay, they've got to stop for the simple fact that all they're doing is making themselves look stupid and vilifying the innocent. It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, when the bishop and the sister came up onto the screen, Joel, which one of them were your eyes drawn to?
The sister.
And now let me explain to you why you and I both knew that she was the one who has power. Sister, what is her name? Sister Mary Joan? I think it was. Hold on a second. Let me see. Sister Mary Joan of the Holy Nicolaitan Church was once a police officer. And in 2012, Sister Mary Joan was hit at high freaking speed by somebody on so much freaking stuff that he didn't even know there was somebody in the road. She was sent flying, and this is the reason why she was staggering, by the way, because her hip and pelvis are a disaster. Every time she moves, it's with pain. And she was hit, struck, and killed, and she flatlined 3 times and came back. And that's the reason why, because she'd seen things on the other side, she came to help the Nicolaitan order. By the way, her story, being hit by a driver, it's flatlining several times, coming back, that happened to my grandfather. That's the reason why he was not affected by the thing that was affecting the whole rest of my family. So that was pretty amazing. So she was the powerhouse in the group. Whenever she touched David, the husband, he recoiled because it's like getting an infusion of light. Until she started praying over that water that he drank, I didn't see any of the glow normal in holy water. That's not to say that Bishop Ouellette is useless. Just saying, when it comes right down to it, he's a 22 rifle standing next to a 20 millimeter cannon. So it's like, which one would you rather take into a fight, chummer? I'll take the troll with the Panther assault cannon, thanks.
True. Very true. Yeah, she was. Yeah, I know that I've seen them bring him before to do an exorcism in a house, and I think I don't remember what happened, but I remember that they were still having some problems afterwards, which is not necessarily uncommon, but that was.
It's just that he didn't bring the voltage.
Yeah, and that was the first time he brought his assistant, so I'm not sure when she became his assistant. But that's
from what I understand, she joined them in 2012. So it's just a matter of probably when she felt enough, she could control the pain enough to be able to walk, because for her, walking is a misery.
Yeah. I think this was just such a serious case, too.
Now, if you notice here, and this is something that I'm going to talk about, which has very little to do with the exact episode, but has something to do with the episode. In previous podcasts we've done, I have said that there is no such thing as an element that is the aid to evil. No element likes evil. In fact, no element really likes goodness either, or good purposes, but they are more easily put to them. They're neutral. They have no bias one way or the other, but you can befriend them. On the other hand, evil energies don't befriend anybody. They enslave. Mm-hmm. Pointing that out, okay? Friendly energy befriends. Evil energy enslaves. So it's much easier to get the elements to carry blessings when you're simply just being good to them. Just letting you know this. Now, that's the reason why holy water can be blessed, and it will carry a charge. And it's also the reason why you can burn incense, which I believe they did as well. Incense is a means by which in the church, they do their rituals in order to be able to cast out evil, to do protections, etc. Every time you see people going to church is always followed by some level of pomp, circumstance, and ritual. Okay? And the reason why is because they've borrowed from other trappings from other religions and other things, because they work. It doesn't have to be Christ or God that's invoked in it, because it's simply a system that works. But it is their chosen faith that they tap into in order to try and give it a little extra kick. Now, this works better, of course, when you have people who are gifted. If you have an entire congregation of people who have no talents, no skills, nothing really happens. But if you get enough of them together, maybe 500 or 600, well, you get a couple of drops in the bucket. To use an anime reference, it's really great when Goku's able to make a spirit bomb from his friend's spirit energy, but 6 billion other people or 7 billion other people lending their aid made that bomb much bigger. So yep. It's the same kind of idea. Even the unskilled can actually give a little bit of help. And with burning incense, it will carry into the air the blessings and etc. So if you look at the church, here's how the trappings work. You have the holy water, which is water. You have the incense, which is air. You have, and you're all going to be going, wow, I never noticed before. You have candles, fire. Can anybody tell me where they see earth? Because you're going to go, Earth. They don't really do any Earth there. Oh, I don't see any Earth. There's no representation of that. Okay, depending on how rich your church is, there are so many representations of it, but the actual original one would be the plate upon which they put the holy wafers, usually gold. And that's the disc of Earth. So there's all the representations of all the elements, which you will find in almost any other system, what is practiced by almost anybody else. And that's even Native Americans who have the elemental wheel. You know, okay, it's universal to this planet. No matter what religion, they invoke those elements for protection. The whole idea of separating them, the means by which we understand the religious and spiritual, is everybody just arguing over whose God has a bigger penis. You know, like Carlin said, you know, do you believe in God? No, dead. Do you believe in God? Yes. My God? No, dead. Do you believe in God? Yes. My God? Yes. Do you believe my God has a bigger dick than yours? No, dead. The failure for the God test is what causes a lot of problems in our society these days. So aside from the funny stuff, your thoughts, Joel?
Yeah, I agree with that statement, and it is a universal thing. Those are called archetypical symbols. It's symbols that carry throughout different cultures. We'll get probably to discuss that at some point too. Even down to the Father and the Holy Mother and things like that, which is kind of good to have a proper understanding of that. That way, you can operate in whatever system, or you can see what works in other system that you might be able to adapt for your own use.
Which was actually how I learned from shamanism how to help spirits, which is not something I'm normally speaking that I should be able to do. It's really outside of the norm. And I'm not saying that because I want to sound special. It's because it's outside of the freaking norm. We're not supposed to be able to assisting spirits in that way is not normal for what I do. And being able to talk to them and empower them, etc., even is something which normally I'm not even supposed to even know that they're around. And in the past, I wasn't even aware of them until Joel did his thing to me in Idaho, where he passed me through the earth the first time. And ever since then, they're all around, not just spirits of ghosts and things like that. It makes me wonder what in the world it would take to be able to get the whole world to wake up. That's the reason why we did that Where Ancient Things Roam episode. You know, they demonetized that, by the way.
Yeah.
They demonetized Where Ancient Things Roam because reasons. It's not for telling people to respect the earth and the spirits in it is apparently not advertiser friendly, but they leave monetization up for big channels that are corporately owned that covered all of the disasters when YouTube said that they wouldn't allow monetization for that, because that's totally not hypocrisy.
Yeah. I think, yeah. I had a thought, it just went past. I've been up all night, so I might have little spells of that.
That reminds me of Dick Tracy. Big boy said, I'm having a thought. It's coming. It's gone.
Exactly.
I understand how that is. Okay, so now to get back onto this episode, because we've only got another few more minutes and I can edit out the dead stuff. But by the way, people on YouTube, you'll get all the little funny snippets in the middle, but I edit all that stuff out for VidMe, which, by the way, our channel on VidMe is growing at a huge rate. And it would be wonderful if y'all could go over there and join us there. It definitely would help out. And we could start putting up special episodes and things like that behind a paywall so that we could actually do stuff for you directly in privacy. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Now, the episode itself, this one, had also shown how the family was affected. And Zach says to the eldest son, so, oh yeah, you tell it to go away, it'll go away. No, it won't. Why he's giving spiritual advice, I have no idea. The man is partly sensitive because he's been exposed to so much energy, and yet he's giving out advice. He needs to go, you know what, son, go over to Sister Mary Joan and talk with her. It is mind-bending to me that they would do that he would give advice that I'm going to tell you now, the whole thing of ignore it, it'll go away, don't pay it any attention because that encourages it. That's not how these things work. I swear to you. If something is focusing on you, if there's an attachment involved, it's not going to resolve itself.
Well, I think this is a good example of that, because it seems like they moved in, and when things started to happen, they didn't move out. They just kind of stayed there and just was like, well, it is what it is, it's going to be all right. And it just kind of snowballed into this big attachment, possession. Like it's like they said, he was so close. And it surprised me that they waited as long as they did, because it didn't seem like, from what they said, from their accounts, it was a pretty long ongoing thing.
And keep in mind that what was being done, because I was actually asked, does possession take these steps? Yes. And yes, Ginseng, possession takes those steps, just like I discussed with you. First, these things show up, and then they give a false face, and then they start giving pushes, push. If everybody remembers the episode, Push, the evil Jedi mind trick, these things can do that from the other side. It doesn't have to be a living flesh thing. It has to have enough strength to be able to slam energy into you enough that they can keep on pushing until eventually they change the thought pattern of the person. Once enough of the thought patterns and the acceptance change far enough, that then there's a little pocket inside themselves that opens up that they can slip into, sort of like a bot fly, and then they can take control and start test driving out the meat. And once that happens, getting them out is detrimental to the health of the person that's involved, because they think that is them. In a possession, literally speaking, the person thinks that they are one. Would that be that there's no separation between the possessing entity and them? There is none. You're essentially attacking them, and so they do their best to protect themselves. And that's it progresses. This guy was one step away. If they had come maybe 2 weeks later, this would have been over. You would have heard about the guy committing suicide after killing his family. And you think I'm kidding on that one? I'm totally fucking not.
Yeah.
It would have been, we don't know what was causing him to be depressed, but it was a murder-suicide. The entire family's dead, lying in their beds, executed at the 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it would be just like the Amityville all over again.
Yeah, and that, I was surprised, like, the house was beautiful, but I was surprised that they moved in to, like, a house that was a lot over from a cemetery.
That is something you will never get me to do, because when we were going to Renaissance fairs, I had to sleep in a hotel that butts up onto a huge graveyard. Let me tell you how much sleep I got. I think it was maybe 3 hours. What was I being visited? No, because I knew everything's attention from that graveyard was focused on me, and I could feel it was washing over me like heat. And it was extremely uncomfortable. Now, having to live next to that crap, no thank you. I didn't like it any of the times I've had to go through graveyards. And it was like, oh yeah, Sean, we'll take walks, but we won't be going through that graveyard over here in Chico. It's like, the fuck you say? When did I say let's go walking through that damn graveyard, Joel? I was like, let's go walking through the monuments of the dead.
Oh,
when has Sean ever said that?
They have some really nice gravestones over there from very long time ago.
Oh, look at me. I'm checking my pockets. I have no F's to give. It's like, oh, it's gorgeous in there. Don't care.
Of course, we do it like not at night. Definitely not at night.
What was that? We're not doing it ever? Yes, I agree. I'm not going in there.